Hello, my name is Jude Holmes, and this is my PowerPoint presentation, and it's just describing my end goal and my main project that I've been doing for this year. So I've kind of got an agenda to start off with, so it's just showing kind of what I'm going to be talking about. So I first got my introduction, just introducing my my PowerPoint. I've got what expressive soloing means to me and how I like it to sound, really, like kind of depicting on what genre I'm doing. I've also got influences, so whether that's genres with R&B and soul or George Michael as well, especially for his like soulful voice, things like that. I've then got my current state, and like what I want to achieve in the future as well. Next, I have techniques, priorities for like character and dynamics. So like how loud, how I want it to be played, the tone, things like that. I've got daily warm up. So whether that's because obviously my main goal being voice tones, guitar tones, things like that. Techniques I can use for both vocals and guitar. So I'll be speaking just about what techniques to be used and how I can warm up my hands, my voice, things like that. I have challenges and solutions. So challenges that I'll be faced with when I'm learning, things like that, and then solutions, obviously, and then kind of just like an end goal, and the conclusion at the end. So let's start off my introduction. So this term, my band and we've had an assignment to record an EP, so just 1 to 3 original songs, and then have a full 20-25 minute set list of the original songs, and then some 80 songs as well. So we had 2 original songs. We had Resentment, which was wrote by Ben and partially me as well with the lyrics. World Burn as well, which was wrote by both of us as well. And then we played Maneater by John Oates and Daryl Hall. We had Careless Whisper by George Michael. And then last of all, we had Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. So it was a nice set. We also had Where Is My Mind by Pixies. I forgot that one. So yeah, it was a good set. It was a great gig as well, to be honest. So yeah, that was the 12th of May. And then this PowerPoint's normally just about my main goal as a year 1 college music student and what I'd like to achieve. Okay, so first, what expressive soloing means to me. So first of all, I've just got definition. It's more, so the expressive soloing is more than just playing notes in a scale. It's using like melody, tone, and like dynamics to shape phrases that feel like a conversation, really. Like each solo tells a story, using musical ideas that fit R&B and soul, connecting with listeners. So depending if it's like a sad song, it can be an emotional solo, whether they're using slides or major and minor notes and chords. I've got key elements of expressive soloing. So solos obviously sound like a conversation, so not random notes. They kind of have to like flow all together, otherwise it'll just sound off. Also focusing on phrasing, tone, and dynamics. So for tone, obviously, if you're playing R&B and soul, you want a clean tone, like a smooth type of tone, and dynamics as well. If it's too loud, it can sound a bit ragey and a bit mad. It's kind of like the emotion that you're feeling throughout the song, which you're focusing on. Storytelling and thematic development to support the song. So depending on what you're playing, whether you're playing low on the guitar or you're playing more down the neck, depending how you feel in the song with the emotion. So if you're playing low or maybe the top 3 frets, you might feel a bit more sad, maybe a bit angry. But higher up, obviously it depends with the solos you're playing, whether it's a major scale, minor scale, whether it's happy or sad. But that's kind of what it's on about. Next is the influences. So George Michael, of course, R&B and soul like styles. So the main kind of like heading for this is like emotive phrasing. So vocal lead guitar shapes. So say you're singing, you're trying to convince your guitar that it can sing. Technically, it's kind of how I picture it. And it's all shaped by R&B and soul influences. So I've got emotive phrasing and dynamics. So that's with George Michael. So his he really shows the impact of like expressive phrasing and controlled dynamics. So when he's singing Careless Whisper, say, the way he sings it, the tone he uses, and the fact that he like focuses on emotional delivery, it really helps to turn like the solos in the song, also his singing, into conversation, not just note sequences, like not just playing random notes. Also R&B like and soul guitar styles. So when you've got R&B and soul, it's more smooth guitar lines and articulation. Articulation is just like decorative notes. So whether you're just adding simple notes in, just to add like a third or a fifth, just to make it sound that extra more like emotional, maybe. Using slides and bends, whether it's going to be, say it's more like a sad cry song, you might add a few slides. It just kind of depends on the emotion, mostly, first and foremost. And also vibrato, which is very helpful. It's more like, gives more texture to the notes, and it helps connect ideas with smooth transitions between notes. And also, last of all, we've got melody and timing. So great lead playing blends melody with timing that flows into the groove. So focusing on placement of ideas and notes, which allows the guitar to complement chord progressions and change the song's feel. So say you've got a major scale and you're playing in A major. You play the A major scale, and then you can add a few notes to make it to complement the chords, really, to make it sound smoother, more emotional, and like to change the song's feel. Whether then it turns into a minor scale and you can do a transition into that, it's kind of, that's kind of the main goal. And then I've now got where I am today versus where I'm going. So it's my current situation and what my future goal is. So I'm normally right now rely on simple scale runs, so literally simple slow, and sometimes I choose notes randomly without even knowing the notes, which it doesn't end well at all, as I land on like incorrect notes. Sounds off. But my confidence, it varies, and my solos may lack clear direction and emotional impact. So they might sound off time or off pitch, so it doesn't reach the listener and the audience how I would want it to. Also, staying in time, sometimes when I'm playing solos, I might go off time, playing too many notes or not as many notes as I want. And also connecting with the band. So if the band's fully playing and then I'm just playing a solo that doesn't fit or doesn't go, the band's gonna just it'll feel like we're playing inconsistently, which is not good. And I want to work on it for future goals. So I want to create musical phrases that follow chord changes, so I can predict if it's in a major key. Say it's G major, I can predict the next few notes, the next few chords, and express emotion corresponding to the correct key, obviously. I want my solos to have confident articulation, showing different dynamics, and so it locks in tightly with the groove. So it's not off time and inconsistent, making it feel like a conversation, which I've said before. So a main summary of that is just I'd like to learn how to play and freestyle guitar solos without playing wrong notes. Also, playing in like a flow state instead of being off time is a main goal of mine, which makes the song sound awful. Next, I've got technique priorities for character and dynamics. So such things I can do on the guitar. So bending and vibrato as well. So you can shape notes with bending and vibrato to create vocal-like phrasing. So when you hear vibrato in a singing voice, you can hear texture, and it's almost like repetitive notes, but it's all blended into one. So I want to focus on precision and emotional expression for each note. So a few techniques I can do is mastering bends, like accuracy, so without flicking onto another string or going to the wrong note, sounding flat. Also vibrato control, whether I'm bending it quickly, causing vibrato, I don't want it to be off time, I want it to be controlled. Also adding character with repeated notes, so if you repeat notes on and off, it might add more depth to it, especially with the vibrato and bending. Also using slides, so connecting notes seamlessly. I'm actually going to show you quickly as well a few things. So with the bend and vibrato, say you are like, that's actually solo. So yeah, when you've got the bend in there, if I did it off time, like, you can see how it like sounds flat, it sounds off, it's just not great. With slides as well, it's just making sure that they're on time, sounding great as well, so connecting the notes really. Also hammer-ons and pull-offs, so say you're playing an E, sounds slightly out of tune, or like a D. Say you've got Lover You Should Have Come Over, it's a great song, and then you've got the so it's that pull-off. Using pull-offs and hammer-ons as well. So I'll just use the 7th there. Also later in the song it goes, and then it goes to the. But the fact using hammer-ons and pulls, it really adds depth and character to the songs, which I really do love because it feels very nice. So yeah, that was a little bit of a demonstration. Next, I've got daily warm-ups I can do, whether that's for vocals or hand exercises. So vocal warm-up essentials, you need to focus on breathing to support tone. So if you're out of breath, you're singing, and then you've got to go for a high note, or you've got to keep a nice smooth tone, you're going to sound really off if you're fully out of breath. Also, resonance for projection, sorry. So when you're singing louder or you're trying to project to a further audience, make sure you have resonance and adapt technique for safe high notes. So say, if I just give an example here, if I'm going, tonight, that sounds fine, it's good, but say I wanted to change it so it's easier to hear, I can change the tonight and make more of a tonight, so it opens up your vocal, it opens up your airways more, and it gives you more of a range. So it'd be tonight, so it sounds more, I'm more confident when I'm hitting the notes, especially when you're hitting higher notes. Also with hand warm-ups, for playing the guitar, once you're obviously starting, you can, warm your hands up, flick the fingers to loosen them. Say if you're going to start playing solos or do anything like that, flick your fingers would be great to just loosen them up so they're more controlled. I think cracking muscles also helps me as well. Great thing I do, so then it just makes my fingers feel more loose for when I'm playing guitar. Also developing vibrato, so whether you're doing this for a straight 5 minutes, but you hear as well, I'm clipping those, so one of my main goals as well is staying off that. So that's kind of like the vibrato. So whether you're sat there for a straight 5-10 minutes, just practicing your vibrato like that, it will get you used to it. So a routine for it is daily exercises, preparing voice. So whether that's doing la 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 la, and then going up in scales. Also daily exercises for your hands, so doing those flicking your fingers, things like that. Expressive soloing and singing as well, so kind of creating your own melodies, things like that. Using high notes, using low notes, kind of like sirens, voice exercises. Also, routines build confidence, control, and support creative expression and performance. So obviously, if you're doing these daily exercises, you're doing for a prolonged time, then your voice is going to get used to it, your hands are going to get used to being loose, and being prepared to sing or to play guitar as well. Next, I've got challenges and solutions. So reaching high vocal notes consistently can be challenging a lot. often leading to strain in my voice or missed pitches, being flat or sharp. This affects the confidence needed for expressive performance and limits song choices. Definitely a thing sometimes happen when I reach my higher vocal range, sorry. I definitely need to work on that a lot more. Also, when under pressure, there's a tendency to go to familiar scale runs. So whether I'm freestyling a scale for some sort of R&B song, I would have a tendency to go back to a familiar scale that I would normally do, rather than making up my own ones and like exploring it more. It can result in solos that feel less expressive and they're more like robotic because you know what you're doing and do you know what I'm saying? There's a few solutions for this. So with vocal techniques and warm-ups, vocal exercises and warm-ups support safe access to high notes. So whether I go over the high notes, just going over them over and over again so I can reach those high notes. Also, key choices build vocal confidence. So whether I want to sing it ha or like a ah, it depends with the vocal range whether you want to sing at higher vocal key or lower. Also, chord tone practice. So if you prioritized slow improvisation and chord tone resolution, it enables like storytelling. So if you do it slower, you'd be able to have more of like a mindset of what you're doing, so you can tell more of a story, I think. Also, structured practice and feedback. So structured routines, instructor feedback, session recordings. So if you record it, enables you to track progress, and it also creates like creativity because you can create what you want, and look back on the recordings and check to see your progress. Also, what kind of success looks like for me, I've got 4 type of columns. So I've got effortless lead guitar solos. So I want to play effortlessly, being able to switch between chords and scales effortlessly. Obviously, it comes with learning all the scales, I understand that. However, that's what my kind of goal is for that. Vocal ease and control, so to have full control over my voice with vibrato, different vocal techniques, so I can just kind of control it a lot easier. Also, faster learning material. So if I'm going over material for vocal techniques or guitar tones, if I'm learning them over and over again every day, going over 10-20 minutes a day, then over the time, if I'm brought up with something, then I'll already have the knowledge for it and I'll be able to quickly do it without learning at the same time. And then last of all, there's confident performance presence. So a big thing for me is stage presence, I think. I love to be on stage and performing. However, sometimes I act not awkward, however, sometimes I don't really know what to do with myself. So I think I would like to learn more about how to express myself on stage. So yeah, that'd be a really good thing for me. And I think last 2 things, next steps and practice commitments. So in summary, daily practice is essential for me to connect in vocal, hand and expressive technique drills. So just get me used to all of these things. And the goal is to trust my ear and to express my own musical voice with confidence and personal style. So to be able to confidently use my ear to go to certain notes, also when singing as well. Key commitments is schedule sessions. So if I schedule them, I know I need to go to them and to focus on practicing. Chord tones as well, to devote time to mapping out chords. So whether I'm playing a nice R&B song, I don't want to play in like a G. Whether I'm playing like that or I want to like a... So whether I'm using, I don't really use a pick since I've learned just not to do it. So whether I want a more hard tap tone, or I want like a... It's more smooth. It's a bit, I think it's pleasing, a bit more pleasing to listen to be honest. And also improvisation review. So recording your improvisation and then reviewing it. Keep it track on a timeline. And then after a couple of weeks, record again and see from the first week in comparison to the next couple of weeks, how much you've improved in your improvisation, stuff like that. So I think that's mostly it. All I want to say is thank you for listening as well, and hopefully for giving your support. My journey is to become more confident, expressing lead guitar soloist, and having inspiration from the soulful phrases of R&B and soul artists like George Michael. I would love if you can give me some feedback on this, on phrasing, time and control, and improvisation, to see if I can make any improvements at all. But yeah, other than that, thank you very much, and that was my PowerPoint on my end project. Thank you.